First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend that he has no say on whether or not my son goes to his bio dads? I had my son 7 years ago when I was 20. His father didn't think he was ready to be a dad because he was a heavy partier and has never met him. But he has always been on top of child support payments. He wanted to pay because he didn't want to be a deadbeat. A year and a half ago, I met my current boyfriend. He moved in after 8 months. From the very beginning, I made it incredibly clear that if my child's father ever wants to meet our son, I was going to allow it. My son deserves to know who his father is. Currently, my son has only seen pictures, and he asks about his dad often. Now, my boyfriend claimed to be 100% okay with this. He has no kids of his own, but stepped in as a step-parent for my boy. He doesn't pay for anything of my son. Me and his bio father do, and while I don't have contact with my son's father, we still maintain a very civil relationship when we do speak. 2 weeks ago, his bio dad got a hold of me and said he thinks he is ready to meet him. He has since dropped the entire partying lifestyle and seems to be pretty well off, considering his upbringing. I responded and we set up a date, which in the end he couldn't meet. He was T-boned and his vehicle was totaled when he was on the way to the meeting spot. He sent me pictures. During all of this, my boyfriend didn't say anything, so I had no reason to believe there was an issue. However, last night, he told me that he doesn't want his son to meet his real dad. He says, what if he likes him more than me? Or, why does he feel like he can't just step in after 7 years? He has tried convincing me to tell my son's father that he isn't seeing him. I told him no, that this is my decision and I have been clear about my stance since day one. That I understood his concerns, but ultimately, this is for my son's benefit. He is sulking now and saying I'm being insensitive to his feelings. Well, I personally think it's a selfish request. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You are 100% correct that this is your choice and not your boyfriend's. The fact that your boyfriend's arguments were all about him, what if he likes him more than me, is really troubling. Admittedly, I don't see the whole relationship, but he sounds incredibly self-centered. I would consider this a warning sign for the future. It feels like the boyfriend doesn't really get what it is to be a parent. Many decisions are based on what is best for the child, especially one of this magnitude. He needs this aspect of parenting clearly laid out for him. That may help him understand. Absolutely. And unfortunately, sometimes what is best for the child is not what the parents feels good about. Not the a-hole. It is a selfish request. This isn't about your boyfriend. It's about your son, and your boyfriend needs to grow up and realize this. This isn't even someone who's been around that long, or her husband. If OP is 27, I assume the boyfriend is around the same age, aka too old to be acting like a child. No a-holes here. Sounds like the boyfriend is somewhat naturally leery about what effect on your son this introduction of biodad will have. That's perfectly natural, and I would hope, / presume you have those same thoughts and feelings. The boyfriend knows it's your sole decision, which may actually make him feel even more threatened, / dispensable, / not relevant, if you know what I mean. I'm giving boyfriend the benefit of the doubt here, by hoping the boyfriend not being truly jerky or controlling. Is he, in other ways? I'm just seeing another possible point of view. Is his position regarding himself here self-centered / selfish? Yes, but it's also somewhat normal given the circumstances, and hopefully is a strong indication of his true attachment to your son. So of course, you're right to say boyfriend has no say, but maybe try to be somewhat sensitive to his feelings of displacement. I think it's the very fact that your boyfriend has no say is what's bugging him, if you know what I mean. Basically, what he said, no a-holes here. Your son will almost definitely like his bio dad better, especially since he's going to be trying hard to win his favor. That's the cross most stepdads must bear. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for separating a child from its mother? I'm really confused right now. Everything is really raw. The baby is safe and sitting on my lap right now. My wife, Nicole, and I have been together for 8 years. I loved her. She was my son. I was really happy when I learned that I was going to be a dad. I've always wanted to raise children, while Nicole didn't really care. She gave birth to a baby girl, Kaya, about 18 months ago. I love Kaya. She is my little sweetheart. We are very close. I'm a stay-at-home dad, since I work from home and earn decently. Nicole goes to work. Nicole isn't really into the labor of a kid. She just likes to do the fun stuff. Kaya's always been closer to me than Nicole, since I feed her, clean her, all that fun stuff. I found out Nicole has been sleeping with my cousin. They've been on and off for about 2 years. She stopped when she got pregnant, and then recently started her affair again. Kaya isn't biologically mine, as in cousin is her father. My cousin is an idiot and want nothing to do with children and never really cared much about babies, especially Kaya. He knew about Kaya possibly being his and just didn't care. He still refused to be her dad after paternity test. I've been depressed since all this came out and Nicole decided to leave our house. She found an apartment and all and was taking Kaya with her. I didn't protest at first because I was distraught about the paternity test and admit got a bit distant with my little nut. Well, they were moving today and I spent a lot of time with Kaya since she was going away and I didn't know when I was going to see her again. I'm struggling with the paternity, but I can't change that I raised Kaya and she calls me Dada. Nicole made a huge show of leaving and was telling Kaya to say bye-bye to the house and to Dada. Kaya was really confused and she didn't want to leave with Nicole because frankly, she doesn't go anywhere alone with Nicole much. Well, Kaya made a fuss and kept shouting Dada and reached out to me. I don't know what came over me, but I just took her from Nicole's arms and told Nicole I'm keeping her and that she could leave. Nicole tried to get Kaya from me, but Kaya wouldn't budge and kept crying. She finally left and said she'd be back later to get her blood. Her mom is calling me now and saying that Kaya is not mine and it's cruel to separate a child from its mother. However, I can't bear to let Kaya go and she's happy at her home. Her mom doesn't even know what Kaya needs to eat. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments of this post. Not the a-hole. Lawyer up and apply for custody. Being a dad isn't about blood. Don't, however, let her mother back into your life and home, just so you can have Kaya around. That's what the mom and she are pushing for, really. She's happily left the childcare to you until now. She's now using blood to try and force you to let her come back. She cheated with your family for 2 years. She doesn't love or respect you. Not the a-hole. Unfortunately, it sounds like your ex-wife decided to care about your child when it became a bargaining chip. Not the a-hole. Go to the courthouse ASAP and file full emergency custody. You're likely able to gain it and have a proper trial later on. If you are on birth certificate, you've every right to do so. You've raised her most and likely able to prove she didn't do much and wouldn't be in child's best interest to go with her. LP, please do this. You don't know what your ex is doing right now, so you need to act fast and get your ducks in a row. Based on the fact that your ex doesn't even know what your daughter eats, I'd say you have a good chance of getting primary custody. Not the a-hole. Lawyer up and get full custody. I'm all for dads staying at home so mothers can work, but this is taking the piss. She hardly knows her own kid, and obviously doesn't have good morals. Your daughter, yes, your daughter, you raised her, deserves better than her. He is actually a work-from-home dad, and he gets extra mad props from me, who is a stay-at-home mom to 2 kids. I can't even imagine how stressful it would be to work a job and also care for a small child. Update: I've contacted a lawyer and he says I have a strong case. I'm also listed as the father in the birth certificate. Nicole hasn't contacted me again yet, and she hasn't come for Kaya. I don't know where she is right now. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for pursuing full custody because my ex asked me for help? My ex and I have 2 kids, 11 female and 8 male, together, and I have another with my current husband, 7 female. My ex usually has them every other weekend. Last weekend, my ex called me to come get my daughter at 1 a.m. Apparently, she had food poisoning, at least I think. She didn't have a fever or anything and was fine the next day except for a stomachache and had run to the bathroom to throw up and ended up vomiting and pooing at the same time. I asked him to handle it because it was 1 a.m. and he lives almost an hour away, but he insisted he couldn't. I came over and found my daughter sitting on the bathroom floor crying, and there was vomit and poo everywhere because my ex hadn't cleaned it up. He said he was too disgusted and couldn't deal with it. I ended up cleaning the bathroom and wiping my daughter down with some washcloths. I woke my son up and took them both home, and we didn't get to bed until almost 4 a.m. The next day, I called a lawyer and then informed my ex that I was pursuing full custody because he clearly can't handle having the kids if he can't take care of them when they're sick. He obviously disagrees, and now I also have mutual friends and my dad saying that I don't understand how hard it is to be a single parent because I have my husband to help, and it wasn't his fault that he was overwhelmed. Am I the a-hole for pursuing full custody after this? Now let's read the top comments. He wasn't overwhelmed, he was disgusted. That right there should tell you what kind of parent he'll end up being. Not the a-hole. Edit to add, I can't believe you cleaned his bathroom for him. Seriously, you're nicer than I would have been. Haha. Yes, should have cleaned up the kids and taken them with you and left the bathroom as it was. Your husband didn't help you clean that bathroom. You knew what to do on your own. If he can't clean up poop and vomit, he shouldn't have the kids, period. He's basically saying he shouldn't have to do it because it's women's work. Not the a-hole. I found my daughter on the bathroom floor crying, and there was vomit and poo everywhere. Yeah, no, it sounds like that's no longer a safe environment for them. Truth. CPS literally take kids away from situations where the kids are covered in their own filth/fluids. How hard is it to run a bath or shower, or comfort a sick child? I can't imagine what X would have done if Opie didn't swoop in. He left your daughter crying and covered in her own vomit and poop for over an hour. Not the a-hole. This, thinking of my child in that state for an hour, made my heart hurt. I would never ever be able to send them on a visit again without wondering how else has he been neglecting them. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend she's being a witch? Before you jump to saying I am, read this all the way through. Friday, my son, 13, had a pretty bad day at school. He almost cried trying to tell me about it. Since she wasn't going to be there that night, I took him out to dinner and we rented a movie. When we started watching it, he sat in the recliner while I lay down on the couch. About halfway through the movie, he got up and came and laid on me. He used to do this when he was like 7, and I wasn't going to push him away. We ended up falling asleep. My girlfriend came home the next morning, and after we woke up, she asked to speak with me. She told me she was very uncomfortable when she walked in. She told me it just felt really wrong, and that he's way too old to be doing that. I told her that he just had a bad day, and he had every right to come to me. She just got mad and told me to never do it again. That's when I told her she was being a witch and to just drop it. He's my son, I'll do what I want. She ended up leaving and going back to her house. I'm thinking about ending things, but that's the only time she's ever done something like that. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, he's your son. There was nothing inappropriate about it. Why was she uncomfortable with it? I hate to think what she would have said if you had a daughter rather than a son and she walked in on a similar situation. He's your son, and if he wants to cuddle with you, he's allowed. Go with what your gut is telling you. Maybe the girlfriend had a really bad relationship with her parents, so it's possible she can't understand what is and what isn't appropriate in a parent-child relationship. But if that's the case, what it means is that she needs to educate herself and not be so critical. Not the a-hole. Your kid had a bad day and wanted love/support from you. I did this with my parents on bad days, and it's the only way it made me feel safe again. You help your child, never feel guilty for that. Also, 13 is an awkward stage, and kids are still figuring out how to deal with emotions. I would ask your girlfriend about the situation and why she was so upset by it. There could be something deeper going on that you don't know about. However, I wouldn't keep her around if your parenting isn't something she agrees with. I'm 32, and I still hop in my mom's bed and cuddle her when I'm super overwhelmed. There isn't anything wrong with this. He's not the a-hole, and a girlfriend needs to bounce. Not the a-hole, huge red flag. She sexualized a healthy relationship with your child. I wouldn't want to have children with a woman who thinks this way. If that's a big deal to you, cut her loose. This, she doesn't get to make comforting your son into something dirty, and then tell you to not do it again? Yeah, you got to go. Not the a-hole. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.